Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. If you're coming on, please hit that like button, hit the share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody, and let them know the Ramon Preston Show is live on this beautiful Wednesday, October the 12th, 2022. I'm super excited, so please hit the like button if you're coming on. Share the video if you're coming on. Be sure to put in the comments what city you're watching me from. I would love to know what city you're watching me from. It's always a blessing to know that we have so many people watching us from so many different places. I'm super appreciative and thankful. I'm grateful for all of you that continue to support the Ramon Preston Show. So please, if you're joining me live today on this Wednesday, WINS Day, hit the like button, hit the share button, tag somebody, let them know that we're live, and put in the comments what city you are watching your boy from. While you're coming on, I want to remind you that throughout this week and next week, I am extending a once in a lifetime offer. I have opened an offer to all of you that are part of my community to join me for the next 2 weeks and to allow me to personally teach you and coach you on the most important principles and concepts surrounding holding companies and creative tax strategies. So if you have not taken me up on the offer that I have extended, because you might not be on my email list, you may not be a part of my communication that we send out on a day-to-day basis, I want to remind you before the show ends to reach out to me. I have extended an offer to teach you and to coach you this week and next week on holding companies and creative tax strategies. Now, when you go to my online platform, Ramon Preston University, this is the platform that houses all of the programs, the courses, and the services that we provide here at our company. So Ramon Preston University houses our signature business and financial wealth building system called the Millionaire Blueprint. It's a 1-year program. We give you access to it for a year, unlimited access. We teach you principles and concepts, strategies on how to start and structure holding companies, financial literacy, tax strategies, sales, marketing, investing, goal setting, systems and processes, and much more. And so what I've decided to do this week and next week was I decided to take the 2 signature courses from that program, our holding company course and our creative tax strategy course, and I'm offering both of those courses for only $197. Now, these 2 courses alone are $497 a piece. So for you to typically purchase these 2 courses, you would have to pay $994. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just go to my website and you'll see those 2 courses sell for $497 a piece. And so what we decided to do was offer these 2 courses for $197 this week and next week, giving you an opportunity to start training and for you to join me this Saturday and next Saturday. This Saturday, October the 15th, I'm hosting a pop-up coaching call. It's going to be a live Zoom coaching call. And what I'm doing is I'm bringing everyone that's on this offer together so we can talk about holding companies and tax strategies. So I can give you more insight and answer any questions that you might have. And then next Saturday, October the 22nd, I'm hosting a 4-hour business boot camp. And the boot camp is going to be centered around holding companies and tax strategies. So I'm taking about 4 hours to talk about these 2 subjects. And the reason why is because every entrepreneur needs to learn these 2 concepts. They need to learn how to implement principles based on these 2 concepts. Like if you're a business owner, if you're running a business and you don't understand the holding company concept, if you don't understand creative tax strategies, I know you're probably losing money and you're probably missing opportunities to make more money. So if you want to take me up on that, I want you to reach out to me today. I will talk about this offer again before the show ends, but this is a very special offer. 2 courses that typically sell for $497 a piece. I'm giving you 2 of them for $197, and I'm also offering you a live Zoom coaching session this Saturday, as well as a VIP ticket to our event next Saturday. So all you have to do, I'm gonna give it to you right now at the beginning before I get into what I want to talk about today. But all you have to do is text the word special. Text the word special to 404-478-7213. Now, if you watch this show, especially if you're watching me live, and you always learning about holding companies, you always watch my videos about holding companies, and you're always browsing YouTube and the internet trying to find out more information about holding companies and tax strategies, and you're trying to figure out how to put your business together, I'm telling you, you're only going to find a certain amount. Some of the things that you're looking for you can't find because they're not going to just be open on the internet. Some of this information you're going to have to pay to get access to. And so I'm giving you access to an entire course on holding companies. I give you an entire course. I teach all the ins and outs of how to start them, how to structure them, how to use them to leverage what you're doing in other areas of business. And I'm giving you an entire course on creative tax strategies so that you can minimize your tax liability, maximize your profits, and you got to do this before the year ends. So just this month in October, we just completed our personal taxes because we get an extension every year. We completed our personal taxes in October, and in September we completed our business taxes. And every year I tell entrepreneurs this. Every year I talk to my students and clients about this, and I tell them you gotta figure out how to get in control of your financial activities as an entrepreneur. You have to get an idea and a grip on how to run the day-to-day operations of your business, especially if you got multiple businesses and multiple operations. Well, guess what? Those 2 issues that almost every entrepreneur has, operations and financial activities, I'm covering this information in these 2 courses. So I'm giving you access to them for $197. And this is just a special because I want you to take this week and next week to start training on these courses so that you could join me Saturday. If you got any questions, I can answer your questions. I can give you some insight and direction on what you need to do. And then on the 22nd of October, you can still have access to these online courses, but then you can join me in person and get more information. This is critical to your success as an entrepreneur. And I'm telling you, the day is going to come. If you don't make any moves now, the day is going to come that you're going to look back and say, man, this dude kept talking about holding companies. This dude kept talking about creative tax strategies. This dude kept talking about systems and processes. This dude kept talking about building wealth through these business systems, and I didn't pay attention to him. And if I would have listened to him back then, I would be further along. I don't want that to be your story. So guess what? You need to lean in, invest $197. I mean, come on. You can learn $197 worth of information in probably the first 30 minutes of watching the videos, not including the live Zoom call we're going to do Saturday, not including the 4-hour business boot camp. You can learn $197 worth of information just from these online courses. So text special to 404-478-7213. All right, I want you to write it down, do a screenshot, text the word special, text the word special to 404-478-7213. Now, today, I want to talk to you about how to succeed as the CEO of a holding company. How to succeed as the CEO of a holding company. This is another big topic of discussion that I have with a lot of entrepreneurs who own businesses. So when you own a business, automatically you position yourself as the CEO, right? We always make ourselves CEOs. Like, we're not in an age right now where having a business card is a big deal. But I remember back in the early 2000s, man, you was like the bomb diggity bomb. If you walked in the room and you had a business card, you was like the bomb. You know, like 20 years ago, if you had a business card, you was doing the doggone thing. So today, business cards might not necessarily be that important because we got digital cards, we got apps, you know, we got social media pages that we use as business cards. So we have a whole lot of technology that has taken the place of business cards. But the point I want to make is this. It's always been like fascinating. It's always been like exciting to label yourself as the CEO. I mean, if you own a business, don't you feel good about saying I'm the CEO? Whether your business is making money or not, you feel good about labeling yourself the CEO. It's just something about saying, oh, I'm a CEO. It's just something about saying that you're a CEO that just makes you feel real good. So I want to share with you just some tips and some principles and probably practices. You can take them as practices on how to succeed as the CEO of a holding company. So again, on a more traditional level, we understand a CEO to be a chief executive officer, correct? This is easy. Chief executive officer, we know that's what a CEO is. Okay, so that means as the CEO, you the chief. You the baller, you the shot caller, you the one that makes the final decisions, you the one that runs the company, all right? You're the chief executive officer. But what are some of the things that a chief executive officer typically or traditionally is supposed to do? Because a lot of the things that a chief executive officer does in a typical or traditional business, they are similar and almost the same as it would be with a holding company, with the exception of a few differences. And I'm going to talk about some of those similarities and differences. But as a CEO and a chief executive officer, some of your primary roles are to, number one, provide oversight. You provide oversight to the company, right? You provide support to the company as a whole. You cast vision. I'm just giving you some of the typical traditional responsibilities, if you will, for a CEO of any company, whether it's a holding company or not. Some of the other things that a CEO typically or traditionally does is they nurture global relationships. So that's a form of marketing. These are just things that your typical CEO is going to do, correct? You're going to consolidate. CEOs consolidate operations. CEOs focus on company revenue, top line revenue. This is another responsibility of a CEO. CEOs focus on innovation. CEOs focus on values. They focus on values and really creating culture. So as you see, these are just some of the traditional or typical roles of a CEO. I'm showing you how to succeed as a CEO of a holding company. So whether you have a holding company or not, when you just look at the typical or the traditional role of a CEO, these are some of the responsibilities that CEOs typically and traditionally have. Again, they're responsible for oversight. What do you mean? They oversee the day-to-day operations of their business. They oversee all the things that are going on, whether it's marketing, whether it's financials. Even if they're not doing it, most small business owners have to do everything, at least when they start. So you overseeing everything. You overseeing product development. You're overseeing how the products are given to clients, how they're being delivered. You're overseeing customer service. So oversight is a big deal for a CEO. Support. Who or what are you providing support for? Well, as a single solopreneur, you're providing support just to maybe the relationships that you have with clients or customers or with vendors and people that you outsource certain responsibilities to. If you have a team or staff, whether they are part-time, per diem, full-time, interns, you have to still provide support for them. You can't just be, as a CEO, someone who gives somebody a job and tell them, hey, have at it, when you're not providing support for them. You have to provide support for them by helping them get educated and trained. You have to expose them to more information. You have to give them the support they need in order to do their job more efficiently and effectively. So support is a big deal for a CEO. Casting vision, that's a big deal. One of the things that I love about being a CEO is that I can cast vision. I can get my staff together and I can literally take them into the future to show them, this is where I want our future to be. This is what I want us to do. And my team, if you talk to my team, which for those of you that are part of my coaching program, we give you access to come into our office when we schedule those times and to literally shadow us for a day. And you get an opportunity to ask questions and to really see, like, what are we doing and how are we actually running our business. My business is, to me, is successful enough and is big enough that I can take pride in it. Now, if it's just me, scrapping out of my bedroom, I can't do that. Or if I'm just in an office in my house, I might not be able to do that. But we have a big enough operation where we can allow people to come into our office, can sit with us, ask questions, shadow us, and get a good experience and learn a lot. But one of the things that you'll learn if you talk to my team and you get around us is that I'm always casting vision out into the future. I'm giving them an incentive. I'm like giving them something to look forward to. I'm always using something in the future to pull them into the future. So we all, like, we have an event coming up, right? On the 22nd. We got a lot of things going on. We're in a campaign. We're pulling everybody to the 22nd. We're already focusing on what we're going to do for November and December and January. We're looking at our calendar for next year because I want to continue to just cast vision to pull them up in there. And so this is a big deal for a CEO. Global relationships. Having global relationships, what I mean is a CEO needs to have relationships with people outside of their scope, all right? Meaning that, okay, you might have some friends and some colleagues that you do business with and you talk with, but you need to start building other relationships, and it might be with people who do the same thing you do. I got a lot of great relationships with people who are in business and financial coaching and consulting. I have a lot of great relationships with people who do some of the same similar things that I do, but it ain't taking nothing away from me. As a matter of fact, there are certain things that I can do that I might not even want to do. So if I have colleagues and people who are in that business, those relationships play a very important role. Another way to really nurture and create global relationships is by getting out of the box. By being able to, and I'm saying this with so much sincerity, as a CEO, as an owner of a business, you need people coaching you. Like, you cannot do this stuff alone. And if you have a problem being coached, if you have a problem like really being a part of coaching communities and programs and being mentored, it's an ego. It's an ego. It's an ego. And you got to get rid of that ego. And you should be willing to get rid of that ego just for the sake of making sure that the people who work with you can look at you and see that you are setting an example. It's hard for you to keep telling people under you what to do and they never see nobody over you telling you what to do. Like, it's kind of hard trying to coach people and mentor people and can't nobody coach you. You know it all. You done figured life out. Sometimes just showing humility to your staff and to the people who follow you, it goes a long way. I want people who follow me and who look up to me and who take my advice and my leadership, I want them to know that I have people that I use to help me. I like for my team and my staff to see me vulnerable enough and humble enough and just open enough and transparent enough to seek the wisdom of other people. So I'm not intimidated when my staff, they do this all the time. They tell me, oh, you know, they train every day, right? So they watch videos every day, they role play every day. And a lot of the stuff that they are getting information on is outside. It's not just on me. It's not just what I'm giving them. It's from other sources. It's from my coach, my mentor, and other mentors that I bring information in and I share with them. And when they quoting somebody else, it don't intimidate me. I'm thankful that they have other resources because I've built those type of global relationships. So this is all what CEOs do. And I'm showing you how to succeed as a CEO, even though this can be for any business. I still haven't even gotten to the holding company side, in which I will in a minute. But here's some other things that CEOs do. CEOs know how to consolidate operations. So how do you consolidate operations? Well, you got to work hard as a CEO to figure out how to bring all this stuff you're doing together. How to make everything make sense. This is a part of your job. You got to learn how to consolidate these operations so everything ain't wild and crazy and chaotic. And I do this as good as I do it, really, and I'm still getting better, but I'm as good as I am because I've worked at it for so long. And not a day goes by that I'm not trying to figure out a better way to consolidate my operations, to make things work more efficiently. And I'm looking at my team and staff and I'm trying to see where can I make things better for them? Where can I automate certain things? Where can I systematize certain things? Where do I need a better process? And how can I make it more easy for all of us? This is about consolidating your operations. Another thing, which this needs to be like at the top of the list, this needs to be a big check right here. Let me check this one big. Company revenue. CEOs need to focus on company revenue. Like, it amazes me how many CEOs that run businesses, but most of the time these are small business CEOs, solopreneur CEOs who have no education and training on how to run a business. I'm not talking about going to school. I'm talking about getting just specialized education and training, because you don't have no coach, you don't have no mentor, you've never bought an online course, you just don't do nothing to make you better. And so a lot of small business owners, they operate as CEOs and they never focus on company revenue. That's what you need to be focusing on. You need to be focusing on making the company money. Well, I ain't no salesperson. I'm the CEO. Shoot, yes, you is. The CEO needs to be the most important salesperson. The CEO needs to be the most important marketer, because if you ain't marketing and selling, you ain't focusing on company revenue. Another thing CEOs need to focus on is fostering innovation. So if you're not innovative, that means you boxed in. That means you stuck. You grinding and you ain't making no progress because you're doing the same thing. You cannot go beyond. Let me say this to you before I get to some other points. You cannot go beyond your level of information. Can you hear me? Is my mic on? Do you hear me clearly? Can you hear the words and see the words that are coming out of my mouth? I said, as a CEO, you cannot operate beyond your level of knowledge. So if you ain't getting new knowledge, if you ain't learning how to become a better version of you as the CEO to do these things more efficiently and more successfully and effectively, you're not operating on that level. So if you look at your level of operation, just look. I want you to look. Just take a look. Take a look at all these things. What a CEO does. Values and culture. You have to have values. You have to exemplify them, and you have to create a culture. Even if it's just you, what culture are you creating for yourself? Think about that. If a CEO is responsible for values and culture, most CEOs, because I was one of them, most people who call themselves CEOs ain't even got core values. They don't even know what their core values are. They don't even know what the beliefs are that keep their business at a certain standard of quality and integrity. And the only way you're going to create a culture for your business is if you create a culture for yourself. So even though most days now, because my wife and I, at least in this season, like for the past, I'll say, man, the past couple months, my team I got some rock stars that work for me, and I love and appreciate them so much. And they make it easy for me because I don't always have to show up early. I don't have to always be the first person here like I always had to be. And that comes as a result of just bringing in dedicated, loyal, committed, efficient, effective people who are willing to learn and who want to learn and who work hard and who show up on a day-to-day basis and who are consistent. And these are people who have been consistent for long periods of time, so I know they're consistent. I'm bringing that up for one reason. I can have a culture that promotes all these things even if I'm not showing up early every day, because I created the culture. When nobody was here, I was here. When it wasn't no business building or headquarters, when I was in my home office, just in my other bedroom or sitting in the kitchen on the breakfast table running my business, I showed up. My wife showed up. And my wife kept showing up because she kept seeing me show up. If I wasn't showing up, my wife would have been like, bruh, just go and find you a job or something, dog, because you ain't ready for this. You ain't about that life, dog. You ain't about that life. But I kept showing up, proving to her that I'm about that life. I'm an entrepreneur. This is what entrepreneurs do. Or let me make it better. I'm a CEO, and this is what CEOs do. So are you a CEO? Are you the chief executive officer of a LLC, of a 501c3, of both? Well, guess what? You should be doing these things every day. You should be responsible for all these things every day. And so I'm showing you how to succeed as a CEO. Now, among all these things that are typical, traditional responsibilities of a CEO, there's one thing in particular that I think separates the CEO of a typical traditional business from the CEO of a holding company. All right? And I want to share that with you right now. What separates the holding company CEO from all those things. Now remember, all the things I just showed you and shared with you, they should be active responsibilities of a CEO of a holding company as well, okay? So we have a holding company. I'm going to put it right here, CEO. So all those things, I ain't going to write them again because you should have got them early. If you didn't, when the live ends, just go back and get them. But in addition to all those things I just shared with you that are responsibilities of a typical traditional CEO of a business, the holding company CEO has, in my estimation, one thing that separates them from just a CEO of a business. And that one thing is the ability to provide asset management. This is one big differentiator from the CEO of a typical traditional business and a CEO of a holding company. The biggest differentiator to me is the CEO of a holding company knows how to implement and execute asset management. Does that make sense to you? Asset management. Because see, this is like one of the biggest benefits and advantages of having a holding company. Your holding company literally becomes an asset manager, and you should be the manager of the asset manager, if that makes sense. So let me show you how it looks. If there's one big differentiator, if there's one thing that separates CEO of business from CEO of holding company, is the ability to manage assets. So this is you. This is your holding company. Your holding company, in essence, becomes the asset manager. How does the holding company, in essence, become the asset manager? Because the holding company is holding, right, or managing either assets of businesses or assets of intellectual property, assets of stocks, bonds, ownership interests, assets of equipment, copyrights, all of these different assets that a holding company owns. Guess what? These assets have to be what? They have to be managed. And they're not going to be managed by an LLC. An LLC don't have a brain. An LLC ain't got eyes. An LLC doesn't have intellect. So the LLC actually has to be controlled or managed by you. So if the LLC, the holding company, is an asset manager, in essence, that by default makes you one. And so when you start looking at your holding company as an asset manager and seeing yourself as an asset manager, it changes how you operate the asset and all of the assets that your asset manages. Do you get what I'm saying? And this requires a mindset. You have to shift your mindset. Most CEOs, they are operators. They're operators. That's the average CEO right here. The average CEO is an operator. No, I'm sorry. The average CEO is a laborer. The average CEO is a laborer. Some CEOs elevate themselves to operators, but most CEOs are laborers. Some are operators. Very, very few CEOs ever become asset managers. Because when you become an asset manager, it makes it easier for you to transition into investing. It makes it easy for you to maybe own a business but never run the business. You play a different game up here. This is a whole different game. See, I'm playing the role. I'm a laborer now. I love to labor. I'm an operator. I love to operate. But as an asset manager, I have the leverage, the liberty, the freedom, the flexibility to start playing different games up here, investing while still owning businesses. This is why I told you my team is growing and learning how to run the day-to-day operations of a business that I don't necessarily have to labor in and operate in at a certain point, even though I still do it heavily because I'm still building and growing. But at least I see the future of where I want to go, but I position myself within my organizational structure the right way so I can make that transition. I know what I'm saying is making sense to you. And if it is making sense to you, if what I'm saying making sense to you, and you know, hey, listen, I don't want to be a laborer. You can have the ability to labor, but running a business and being a CEO, your future shouldn't just be, oh, I want to labor. That shouldn't just be your future. You should labor because you want to, not because you got to. At a certain point, you should be able to exit and transition out of operator. Even though if you do it because you want to, not because you have to. At a certain point, you want to be able to exit and be an asset manager and manage the assets that are owned by the holding company. But how are you going to make that transition? The only way you're going to make that transition is you start changing your mindset and learning these concepts and learning these principles. This is why I'm giving you that offer. As I told you, I have 2 courses right now that I'm offering you. One course is on holding companies. I'm teaching you all of this stuff in this course. If you want to learn about asset management, if you want to learn about starting and structuring holding companies, using that holding company as an asset manager, diversifying your assets within your organization, I'm teaching you that in this one course. Then I'm giving you a course on creative tax strategies as well, because once you start making money, the next problem you're going to have is a tax problem. And that's only if you do not know how to operate business accounting properly while you're making money. If you learn how to operate your business accounting properly, you're going to save yourself a lot of money in taxes, and you're probably going to make more money because you're going to know how to use that money within your organization in a way that you can expand your net worth and your overall enterprise value without losing that money. Okay, so I'm giving you these 2 courses. I'm giving you a live Zoom this Saturday. It's going to be a Zoom coaching call, and I'm going to give you the VIP ticket to my event for the 22nd so that your questions can have priority. This is going to be maybe a 1-hour deep dive here. It's going to be a live, it's a private Zoom. It's just me, you, and the few people who have taken me up on this $197 offer. I'm answering your questions based on you taking these 2 courses. So if you take these 2 courses and you start going through them today, by Saturday, you will have already tracked through enough to have questions that I can answer this upcoming Saturday. And so I'm giving you all of this for $197. You couldn't pay like all of this outside of this special. All you got to do is go to my website. Just go to my website, and I want you to start putting the prices together. I'm telling you what you're going to see. You're going to see typically my VIP tickets to my 4-hour events are typically $250. My live Zooms are really coaching calls or coaching sessions that either come with my mentorship program, my 1-year coaching program, or you have to pay at least $997 for 1 hour of coaching. These 2 courses you're going to find for $497. So this is over $2,000. I'm just giving it to you for $197 because I want to give you 2 weeks to get taught and to get coached on holding companies and tax strategies, because I already know the moment you learn these things and you start implementing them in your business, it's going to change the game. And you're going to make so much money. You're going to save so much money. You're going to be so much more efficient that you'll be calling me saying, man, I just want to, what's your Cash App, bro? I just want to give you a couple dollars just because you looked out for your home team so well. So I want you to text the word special to 404-478-7213. Maybe you got some questions you want me to answer on these 2 courses or these 2 live events that I'm giving you access to. And maybe you just want to be sure that you're not wasting $197. I mean, $197, and you getting all this. Ain't nobody giving you all that for $197. I already know that. And they definitely ain't giving you as much information that I'm going to give you, because most people that I talk to who call in or who email me, they already tell me, man, you give more information on YouTube than most people do. So can you imagine? I have a whole course on holding companies that you can't even find on social media. You can't find on the World Wide Web. I know how valuable it is. So I appreciate all of you for joining me this Wednesday. I'll be back here tomorrow, Thursday, same place, same time on the Ramon Preston Show. Please leave a comment. Leave a comment. I want you to give me what your biggest takeaway was from today. What was your biggest takeaway? Did you have an aha moment? If you did, drop it in the comments. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page. Have an amazing day. I'll see you tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon Eastern, right here